not good enough for these folks. In contrast to criminal justice, where you bring the criminal to justice, this approach seeks to restore justice to both the victim and the offender. You have voluntary mediation, blah 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 blah. And so this is one of the ways for us to sort of rethink what we think about when we think about law and order and justice and all that stuff. Anyway, so it has all these different ideas, and it is sort of questioning again our nature of crime, nature of criminal, and everything like that. Yeah, crime is primarily an offense against human relations and secondary a violation of law. Sort of depends on the context. Restorative justice recognizes that crime is wrong, should not occur, and also recognize that after it does, there are dangers and opportunities, blah, blah, blah. But again, what is crime? It sort of depends. Make things as right as possible. Okay, this is pretty good. What are the causes? What are the causes of the offense? Addictions, lack of social, all this type of stuff. One of the things I think that's important here, and this is adding to stuff, we constantly have to think about definitions, framing, and everything like that. So a lot of folks still may think that you decide almost to make to do something that is against the law to hurt somebody else or whatever, as if it's some sort of autonomous choice that was thought through, and that's oftentimes not the case. And also we have this larger idea of the fundamental attribution error that they don't talk about here, but oftentimes we tend to think that somebody's actions are attributed to some sort of internal state instead of context. But we have to understand the context of why folks do what they do, whether it's a choice or not. But in any case, I'll let you read all this stuff. But even though this gets a little bit closer to what the authors are arguing for, they still don't like it because restorative justice does not necessarily address issues of oppression, injustice, and social inequity within conflicts. This is on page 93. While restorative justice challenges the retributive justice system, brings people voluntarily together, it fails to recognize the social, political, and economic issues that affect each and every conflict, because they want the process itself to be a process of activism that changes our society for the better. Because we don't want to restore just the way things were. We want to change things. Therefore, we have to transform, and that's what they're all about, transformative justice. That is their call. Transformative justice. That's a transformer. Sorry. All right, so what's this all about? It's complicated. Delicious water. Hardee's, I hate their commercials, but contradictions. Talks about systems theory a little bit, and you don't need to know all this systems theory, but basically everything impacts everything else, the butterfly effect or something. There's lots of interconnections, and this sort of appreciates this. And so, even though it's complicated, at the end of the day, it says, transformative justice asks that everyone and everything change. We as individuals, as well as our systems, structures, and relationships. I think the idea of we need to understand the context of everything is so important. And the example that they give there of the 14-year-old boy, that is really good sort of description of what transformative justice is. In other words, you can no longer, from this framework, say, I don't care why they did it, they deserve to go to jail. Can't think that way anymore, not from this perspective. So you got to think about the context. Why folks do that in the first place, and then we have to transform the culture that helped to create the context. So lots of cool principles that I will let you read. Current system of U.S. separates the victim and the offender. I don't know about the prison abolition. That's not terribly practical. And some people have to be taken away from society to keep people safe. But I'll let you read all that stuff. But it's pretty big, sort of, we really need to, change the way we think about things. It's a big change. And then there's like these, things that we can do in our own lives to move towards sort of transformative justice in our everyday. Critically reflect on all of our assumptions. That's good. Take accountability for your actions. Take responsibility. Understand. Blah blah blah. It's not blah blah blah. Yeah, but some really good information that I'll let you read. But a lot of this stuff is, this is very, very sort of idealistic. And some things I think are easier said or written in a little book than actually done. But these folks, particularly with Save the Children, are actually trying to do this. Will this happen? Will our complete culture change? I don't think so, but, we can move toward it. That process is important. So, conclusion. We need to escape from Alcatraz. We need to escape. We need to escape sort of the normative ways that we have thought about law and order, the punitive criminal justice system, even though they know it's extremely difficult. One of the biggest barriers is escalation. The conflicts get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we've been seeing that. And I got another. But I like the philosophy, the overall philosophy here, that transformative justice is a non-dogmatic, process-oriented social justice philosophy for peace that allows for creative approaches in transforming conflict and addresses issues of brutality, assault, abuse, victimization, accountability, responsibility, loss, and healing. So it's sort of bigger than just what we have as the criminal justice system. But they argue that oftentimes, even in our interpersonal interactions, things can escalate. We're arguing over ketchup, and before you know it, there's a knife fight. Oh, you're bleeding. Oh, no, it's ketchup. But, so they talk about these different things that we can do to avoid escalation. I'll let you read that stuff. Those are escalators. Which way are they going? I can't tell. They're just, that's it. Okay, so don't escalate, but it's up to you. Is it going up? Is it going down? It's up to you. But some really interesting stuff in this chapter. Hopefully, particularly for those of you who are dealing with, these issues for your topic or in life. This is helpful information. Pretty interesting stuff. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.